I just want to run through some items that may be of interest to you thinking of doing a track day. I did find that having got the performance car and wanting to try it out properly, the thing to do is get out on a track. It's all right saying that, but what's involved? So I'll just run through quickly the sort of three main items, which is the driver, me or you, the car, and also the what to do on the track. If you've done a track day, then you probably know most of this stuff already, and I do say that the information I'm giving you here is my experience, may not be true for all circumstances. First off, when you decide to do a track day, you want to look for an organisation who is professional at doing track days. They advertise on the website these days, which makes it fairly easy to pick and choose them. Or you can go through, say, a car club. They're usually quite reputable, and also you could do an open day. An open day tends to be a bit more experimental, so probably not the first thing to go on. If you're really serious about doing this, then I'd also suggest doing a training day. Sometimes some organisations hire a track for a day or two, and you just go down and you've got some time in the classroom about the car and so on and so forth, and then you go out and do runs on the track, and they'd be quite helpful either before you start or once you've started. I want to know a bit more about the whole deal. Normally you'd need a driving licence, have a current driving licence, so you probably need to show that when you get to the track, so make sure you've got one. When you apply for that particular track day, they'll probably ask you to sign a waiver form saying that they are not responsible for any damages or accidents. Make sure you understand any financial penalties there may be if you cause damage to the track, which may not be a small amount, but hopefully it won't be needed. Similarly, I think what else is there to do with the track? So you signed the waiver form, you got your driving licence. Insuring your car. I never did this, probably because I think it'd be horrendously expensive. And if I keep in mind that I want to leave the track with a smile on my face with the car in one piece, then maybe, hopefully I won't need insurance. And if it's run properly, you shouldn't have any trouble with any other of the people on the track. What you may need to bring is suitable clothing, and again this will be explained in the information you're given by the track day organisers. You need a helmet, and you need to make sure the helmet's of the right standard. So the helmet will be similar to this, but you need to make sure that it's got the right specification. So there should be a label on the helmet when you go and buy it, which will have the right numbers on it. Just make sure with the track organisers that you do have the right type of helmet. So one of the first sessions I turned up for, I came with a helmet which I'd found in a second-hand shop, and they said no, that won't do. So that would have been the end of my day at the track if it hadn't been for a good friend who was quite happy to share. So I bit the bullet and went out and bought one of these things. So also, when you have it, don't put stickers on it, because that tends to weaken it apparently, and look after it, because that looks after your head. Obviously you shouldn't need it, or hopefully you won't need it, but it's there just in case. Similarly, they may ask you to wear fireproof clothes, and you think, this means going out to one of those shops and buying expensive flameproof suits. But what they're really looking for is anything that's all made of natural material, i.e. cotton. So I just went to a shop, one of those places for safety gear, stuff like that, and made sure I've got overalls, right, and that they had a label in them, and the label does say right on it, cotton. If you can read that at the top there. So it's got to be 100% cotton, because cotton is flame proof, right? So if it gets hit with flame, it'll retard any fire. Whereas anything with man-made fabric, well, I don't know if you've seen on some of those adverts, but it just basically melts, and that'll melt against your flesh, which isn't too nice. Similarly, you'll need, when you buy it, you will need to adapt it, because you don't want flame shooting up your trouser leg or up your arm. So they ask that these are elasticated at the wrist and at the ankle, so it fits snugly. I have seen some guys actually have just a standard piece of cotton overalls, but they put heavy masking tape around, and that seemed to pass muster. So it depends on who's running the track day. Also, if there's any side seams where there's a hole through, put your hand through, those also need to be sewn up. So yeah, that was one on, I think there used to be one on here, and that was sewn up. So that's your overalls to stop you catching fire, your helmet to stop your head getting damaged, and I also bought a pair of shoes with very slim soles on. I don't know if you've seen those racing drivers who've got the slim soles, but they do help with your feet, with the feeling of your feet on the pedals. So if you're doing it's not left foot braking, but heel and toe. If you're doing heel and toe, you're better able to feel where your feet are. And if you're driving a turbo vehicle and you don't want the revs to drop below, say, 2,500–3,000 revs, so the turbo, cuts out on you. So you try and keep the power on while you're braking. These shoes do help with regards to the feel of the brake and accelerator pedal. So okay, that's the bit done for the person. So the next thing is